In this video, we're going to pull back the curtain on high school internships. What they really are, what they are not, and how your student can actually make the most of these often overhyped opportunities. If you've ever wondered what a high school student is actually doing during one of these prestigious sounding summer internships in a biomedical lab or tech think tank, sometimes the answer is simply standing there in silence, trying not to break expensive equipment. Because let's be honest, high school students are still learning basic biology. What are cells? How calculus works? And why sleeping is important. And expecting them to contribute meaningfully to a medical or research organization sounds naively optimistic. And yet, every summer, students flood into research labs, corporate offices, and nonprofit programs under the banner of quote unquote internship. But what exactly are they doing there? Some of the most common internships are organized by big names. Right off the top of my head, I can tell you NIH, National Institute of Health, and some of the bigger tech companies. And these programs are often more about public outreach than actual productivity. Essentially, they exist to build goodwill, community impact, brand image. So essentially think of it as marketing and PR tactic. So no, the interns are not working on breakthrough treatments and discoveries. They're typically assigned what's known as sandbox projects. So these internship projects examples are harmless, controlled, and intentionally inconsequential. And that's okay. Just don't expect college admission officers to read your kid's application twice just because they got to watch someone else perform an experiment in the lab. Now, speaking of labs, some families, let's just say very well connected families, do get their kids into real labs. Not tours, not camps, actual working labs. But even in these unicorn cases, the reality doesn't match the fantasy. Because despite standing in the midst of cutting edge experience, most of these students don't do much, and for good reason. Because from the lab director's perspective, intern has two jobs. One is don't mess anything up. And second, don't get hurt. When your presence is more of a liability than asset, you're not going to be handled delicate instruments or vital data sets. You'll be shown things, told things, maybe asked to wash a few beakers. And this is not an attack on students. It's common sense. These are high stakes environments, and no one's risking a year's worth of research to give a teenager quote unquote hands-on experience. Now, this is the problem for the students that do get these type of internships, is that most of them show up completely unprepared, complete lack of preparation. Like no background reading, no understanding of the field, sometimes not even basic lab etiquette. It's almost as if they expected some kind of academic Cinderella story where the lab director would spot a raw potential in the student, cancel all meetings, spend the summer personally training them, and then publish a paper with their name on it by August. Unfortunately, the real script is a little less cinematic than that. So what really happens? Is that these interns often come home saying they learned a lot. And maybe they did. By observing, listening, and understanding and absorbing. But what they didn't do was contribute to original research. They did not co-author a paper. Or drive experiment forward. They couldn't. They were not prepared for that. And that's not their fault. They're simply high schoolers. So the fault lies in the assumption that simply being in the room is enough to create an academic transformation. So, is there a way? I say yes. In fact, your student can have a transformative internship experience. But this does not start with the lab. It starts long before. Transformative internship experience starts with preparation. Preparation is everything. If your student walks into a lab understanding the basics of the field, having read a few relevant studies, pre-knowledge, knowing what kinds of questions to ask, then you've got something powerful. The student might not invent something new, but they will stand out. They will learn faster, ask sharper questions. This is some of the best ways to stand out, is by asking the right question. Maybe even take on a small project with real value. Take on a project. And those are the students who do end up getting published, who do leave with the glowing recommendation, who do create something worth writing about in their college application. So, to wrap everything up, this is the truth. Internships do not magically turn high schoolers into scientists. But preparation can turn a passive observer into a real contributor. Contributor. So if you're a parent or student thinking about summer internships, don't just focus on where to go. Focus on what you do before you get there. Because with the right mindset, even a small opportunity can open big doors. So if this helped you see internships in a new light, give it a like and share it with someone navigating the same path. And if you want more no-nonsense strategies for building a real academic profile, subscribe to this channel. We've got more coming your way. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one.